Morning.
Will Dieter and Fuller be available to you Sunday?
Dieter is he was injured in practice on Wednesday. He's going to be out and likely to go on IR.
Thank you.
Fuller, he was at practice yesterday. We expect him to practice today and go on Sunday.
And I guess Greg Mans is next up at center.
Yeah, Greg will
Right?
start at center.
And I know you talked about him after the acquisitions. Sorry to ask you again, but just some of the qualities which you guys like about him.
Smart, tough, competes. Has picked up the offense quickly, vocal, um, and he's done a nice job. So he'll be in there this weekend.
How big of an impact do you see the Dieter injury having on club?
Excuse me.
How big of an impact do you see the loss of Dieter having on the team?
Yeah, I mean Dieter's starting center. He's done a nice job, really. The entire spring training camp, and the start of this season. Uh, it's unfortunate, but we got to move on to the with the next player and the next man up mentality, like we've talked about. But yeah, it's a tough loss. It's a tough loss for the offensive line and us as an offense and as a team. But Dieter would be the first guy to say for us to go out there and prepare and practice the right way and hopefully play well on Sunday.
So is this a situation where you're going on the IR and will return, or is this a situation where the season is done?
I think we'll take this like every player. It's day to day. Every injury is a little bit different. The rehabs are always different. So in this case, it'll be a minimum of 3 weeks, and we'll kind of see how it goes, how the rehab process goes in those early weeks, and then have a better idea of where we're at after those initial 3 weeks.
So where does that leave you as far as a backup center? I'm going to guess Jesse Davis just because he does everything else.
Well, Jesse can snap. He's snapped before, so we got a couple different ways we can go there. Again, there's a good amount of versatility throughout the offensive line, so we'll have a plan. We have a backup center.
Brian, how difficult is it for the offensive line to mesh and take steps forward? That's going to be the fourth different starting lineup.
It's the way it goes in the National Football League. I think a lot of teams are dealing with injuries and COVID, and I mean that's just kind of how it is. And we've talked about that here, being able to shift guys around and move guys into different spots, and we do that, really early in the season and training camp because it's more likely than not that that'll be the case, during the season. So we're dealing with it. A lot of teams are dealing with it, and next guy's got to go in and execute, and that's why we practice and prepare the way and move guys around.
Ryan, when you put Dieter on IR, is bringing up Cameron Tom a consideration from the practice squad to the 53?
Potentially something we might do. There's a few different ways we could approach this, but he's done a nice job. Did a nice job in training camp for us. We brought him back to the practice squad, so there's potential for that.
Brian, with the high number of really quality wide receivers that you have, what factors go into deciding who's going to be up, who's going to be down in a particular game? How much of it is how they practice? How much of it is matchups?
I think it's game plan specific, who we think will, have success in a given grouping, a series of plays, their value in the kicking game, or what they bring to the table in the kicking game. Blocking in the run game. I mean, it's just all the things we talk about at the wide receiver position. So, yeah, I mean, there's, a few different, things we talk about as a staff. Hey, we think this guy will be good with these sets of plays. This guy will be good on, this on third down or this on early down or this in the run game. So it's a lot of the conversations we have as a staff early in the week, and that kind of plays into our projection of who would play best in those roles, and then we always got to have backups, and then we let guys get those reps during the week and make the determination at the end of the week.
You do a good job communicating with players. I'm always curious, in a case where established NFL guys are on the inactive list as opposed to young players, like Wilson and Preston, who's had some success in 2 years, do you make a point to explain to them during the week? Do you have Josh do it in the case of the receivers when it's more experienced guys as opposed to a young guy inactive?
I've always said, I always keep my my conversations with players private, but yes, I have conversations with, I try to have as many conversations throughout the week as possible. It's hard to talk to everybody on the team, but in those specific situations like inactives and playtime and up down things like that, yeah, I try to have those conversations. And like you said, I think honesty is always the best way to go. We feel this way. This is why you're up. This is what we feel like you can do, and this is where for this particular week, a guy may not be up. So I think that's the best way to handle it. Really for any player, coach, or really anyone in the organization, just to be honest. And I think our guys respond the right way.
Coach Paul, what have you seen from Mike Gesicki this week, especially after having a good game, 2 interceptions last game?
The way Mike prepares is this really the same every week. He's someone, it's very important to him. He practices the right way, prepares the right way, and he's anxious to get out there and practice. And I think he's like a lot of our guys, he believes that if you do it right in practice, give yourself an opportunity to do it right in the game. And I think his preparation's really been the same. It's not like it just spikes up because he played well. I think he's pretty consistent with the way his approach to the game every week.
I just wanted to ask you about the possible challenges that Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner present for the Colts up front.
Two very very good players up front. Hard to move both guys. DeForest, hard to move him. He's very quick. He's obviously very talented. Tough guy to block. And then next to Grover, it's hard to move Grover. So, and then they've got Tyquan Lewis goes in there and does a good job. They got some good players, really across the board. So, they do a nice job defensively. They do a nice job really across the board, offensively, defensively, in a kicking game specific to defense. It's a tough front to play against. They do a lot of things to create some confusion schematically. Well coached. I think Coach Eberflus has done a very nice job, since he's been there. We'll have our hands full, that's for sure.
With Rob Hunt, just thoughts on how he's done at right guard. Do you and Lem have a conviction yet whether he's better at guard or tackle, or might that take the full season to sort of get a handle on?
I think Rob's done a nice job in their guard. I think he's, again, learning that position. I think it's early as far as getting reps in, game reps at that spot, and I think he's still developing. I think he's got all the makeup to develop, and I think for him and a lot of our young players, it's just about playing with some consistency.
Coach, you mentioned every team kind of deals with injuries in this league, obviously, and looking at the Colts practice report yesterday, a lot of guys in that list. I know you'll scout and prepare for all 53 guys, but when you have that many injuries you're looking at, do you have to kind of build in contingencies in terms of how you prepare different types of plans for what they may or may not have available to them?
I think I think first and foremost we try to prepare for really everyone, and assume that they're all going to be out there until we get the word, which a lot of guys don't practice or are limited on Wednesday and Thursday, and then practice on Friday. So we probably won't have and then we don't get a game status until today. So prepare for everyone. But I think in a situation like this, there's just more guys you're preparing for. You know, more guys, more of their offensive linemen, more of the they got some issues or some looks like some injuries in some other places. You're just preparing for more guys. But you know, I think our guys know that whoever's in there is going to be well coached. They're going to have good fundamentals, good techniques. They're going to know what they're doing. They're going to play fast. This team plays fast, really, in all three phases. And you know, this is a National Football League, so everybody's good. I think our team knows that. Our team understands that, and you know, we know that this will be a tough 60-minute ball game.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Speaking with Nick and John yesterday, you know, asked them if they had picked Jacoby's brain at all about the Colts, and both of them had said no. John specifically was saying, you know, it's a new regime, it's a new year. What does that kind of mindset do for you guys as you prepare throughout the week?
Nick and John. Oh,
John Jenkins.
okay. Can you repeat your question? I was kind of
It's
trying to
all
figure
good.
out what-
I guess I'm not on a first
Yeah.
name basis with them yet, but neither of them have picked Jacoby's brain about the Colts, and John specifically said, you know, it's a new regime in there, it's a new year. Jacoby's not in that building, and neither am I. That kind of mentality, you know, how does that help you guys throughout the week as you prep for this game?
I think you know, I think those guys watch a lot of film on their own. You know, we sit in meetings, we kind of go through it, but yeah, every year is different, and everyone's got their own kind of, you know, way to prepare. And I think those guys, Nick and Jank, they prepare, you know, well each week. So I think that's kind of the mentality. I think it's, you know, these guys, you know, they you know, watch film with their coaches on their own, and I think everyone's got their own routines as far as how they go about the week. So I'm confident in those two guys that they'll be ready to go. So.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you about Will Fuller. When you have a young, well, not really young, but when you have a player who has battled injuries as much as he has and has missed as much time, how do you get a gauge whether he's game ready, especially when he's fighting something else?
I think Will's game ready. I think we kind of saw that last week. I thought he did some nice things. Thought he made a couple good catches, and you know, when he's been at practice, which he was yesterday, I think, you know, you see some of those things, and you use practice, you use the game, and you make that determination. And look, we wouldn't play something we didn't feel confident was ready to play. So, and I think we'll be ready to go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.